Before you were born, before your name was whispered into the world, the universe held a silence, an endless field of possibility. No fame, no failure, no noise, just the waiting echo of a voice powerful enough to shape that silence into something real. That voice was meant to be yours, and yet here you are, surrounded by distractions, flooded by opinions, buried beneath the noise of a world that teaches you to follow rather than to speak. But the truth has never changed. It waits, patient, beneath the rubble of your doubts. What you speak, you become. What you see, you pursue. What you seize, you live. You are not here to beg for success. You are here to declare it, to cast your voice like thunder into the mountains of uncertainty, because every great empire was born first in the mind of someone who refused to whisper, someone who dared to speak when others stood silent. Think of Henry Ford, a man with no formal education, no silver spoon, no permission. The world laughed at the idea of a horseless carriage. He didn't listen. He spoke it. He said, "I will build a car for the multitude." And the world tried to remind him of his limits, but he didn't see limits. He saw roads, miles of them, waiting to be driven, and he seized what he had no right to claim. Speak it, see it, seize it. You must speak before you can shape. You must declare before you can dominate. You must name the mountain before you climb it. This is not the language of fake optimism. This is the weapon of focused faith. When you speak your vision aloud, you bring order to the chaos. You summon clarity from confusion. You place a crown on the invisible idea and make it real. This is how Edison lit the world. It wasn't just the bulb, it was the belief. Thousands of failures could not silence his declaration. "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He didn't wait for the world to believe in him. He spoke first, then he saw the world change. And what about you? What truths are still trapped in your throat? What greatness lies dormant in the chambers of your voice, waiting for you to speak it into being? Because until you open your mouth, your dream is just a prisoner. Until you speak, your future cannot find you. Speak it, yes, but not as a wish. Speak it as law, as prophecy, as command. Say it like Lincoln did when the Union tore at its seams. Say it like Mandela did from a prison cell. Say it like Disney did with nothing but a pencil and a pocket full of vision. Say it and let the sound of it shake the ground beneath your fears. And then you must see it. Close your eyes, not to sleep, but to awaken. This is where most people falter. They speak, but they never see. They talk big, but they live small, because their vision is still tethered to what is not what could be. To see is to believe with your entire being, to paint the portrait of your destiny on the canvas of your mind, and refuse to see anything less, to let the image of your future burn so brightly in your imagination that it sets fire to your reality. Every skyscraper was once a sketch. Every revolution was once a vision. Every triumph was once a dream unshaken by doubt. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't say, "I have a plan." He said, "I have a dream," because dreams birth plans. Vision shapes destiny. You must see it so clearly that it eclipses your excuses. You must stare so long at what you want that the world begins to bend in your direction. Look, Carnegie didn't wait to be rich to think like the wealthy. He saw it long before the steel rose to the sky. He saw his worth before the world measured it in millions. That vision. And when others wandered, he walked straight through the storm. When you see your future with unwavering clarity, you give your subconscious orders it cannot ignore. You rewire your focus. You change the quality of your questions. You train your senses to seek evidence of your belief. But seeing is not enough. Speak it, see it, and now, seize it. This is where the timid fade. This is where the brave rise. Seizing means action, not perfect action, not convenient action, but relentless, brutal, decisive movement. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards results, and results bow only to those who act. This is what Napoleon Hill meant when he said faith is the head chemist of the mind. He didn't mean religious faith, he meant conviction. Belief so strong it refuses to wait. Faith that moves the body before the path is paved. Faith that walks into the storm and says, "I am the storm." Too many people live as spectators to their own lives. They talk, they hope, they plan, but they never leap. They never seize the opportunity because they're waiting for certainty. But understand this, Certainty is the reward, not the requirement. You will never feel ready. You will never be handed the golden ticket. But you don't need one. You only need the voice to speak, the eyes to see, and the will to seize. You must be willing to fail publicly, to bleed in pursuit, to be misunderstood, mocked, doubted, and dismissed. Because the moment you seize your future, you threaten every comfort zone around you. When you seize your calling, you become a mirror that reflects what others could be, if only they dared. That's why they'll resist you. That's why they'll try to shrink you. But let them. The lion does not ask permission to roar. You must seize your habits, your morning, your breath, your moment. You must seize your discipline like a weapon, because in this world the disciplined inherit what the distracted only dream of. And discipline, oh, discipline is the gatekeeper to every dream. Discipline is the quiet architect behind greatness. It does not shout. It does not beg for applause. It works in silence, stacking bricks while others sleep, stacking wins while others scroll, stacking legacies while others wait for motivation to knock. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that never dies. And if you want to seize what belongs to you, your purpose, your destiny, your vision, you cannot flirt with discipline. You must marry it, commit to it. Wake up beside it every morning, even when your emotions betray you, even when your energy fails you. Because the truth is, the people you admire most, the icons, the legends, the titans, they weren't superhuman. They were simply faithful. Faithful to the boring, faithful to the routine, faithful to the repetition. They weren't seduced by the glamour of dreams. They were obsessed with the grind of building them. You see, clarity lives on the other side of discipline. And without clarity, even the strongest ambition collapses. You must know what you want. Not vaguely, not emotionally, specifically, strategically, ruthlessly. What does the life you're building look like in exact detail? What time do you wake up in that life? Who are you surrounded by? What problems are you solving? What contribution are you making? How does it feel to walk in those shoes? Clarity is the compass, and most people are shipwrecked, not because they lack strength, but because they lack direction. You cannot hit a target you haven't defined. You cannot chase a dream you haven't described. That's why vision without clarity is a curse. It teases you with potential, but gives you no pathway. It's like having wings without wind. But when clarity and discipline shake hands, mountains move. This is how the world's builders operate. This is how Bezos turned a garage into an empire. How Oprah turned pain into power. How Jobs turned a vision into a revolution. They were ruthless about their clarity, obsessive with their focus, committed beyond reason. Because once you have vision, once you have clarity, once you have discipline, there is only one path left: action, real action. Not busyness, not overthinking, not planning for the sake of planning. I'm talking about bold, terrifying, reputation-risking, failure-flirting action. This is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the spiritual and the tangible, the dream and the deed. And here's the truth, the world won't tell you. Success doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like fatigue. It feels like late nights and early mornings, like doubts that claw at your back while you take one more step. It feels like sacrifice, like walking away from comfort, from crowds, from approval. It feels like standing on a cliff, whispering, "I don't know if this will work," and then jumping anyway. But action is the ultimate vote of faith, and faith, when acted upon, becomes fate, because the law is written. Speak it, and you start the fire. See it, and you stoke the flame. Seize it, and you become the blaze. And once you burn, the world cannot ignore your heat. But don't mistake motion for progress. There are thousands who run in circles and call it hustle. There are millions who check boxes and call it living. You must act with precision, with intelligence, with strategy. Every day ask yourself, is what I'm doing today pulling me toward or pushing me away from who I want to become? Is this task serving my vision or simply feeding my fear of standing still? Because action without alignment is a treadmill. It looks like movement, but it leads nowhere. But when action is born of clarity and fueled by vision, you enter a zone where time bends, where doors open, where people appear, where luck finds you, because you dared to move before it made sense. And when you move with intention, Something divine responds. Call it God. Call it the universe. Call it the subconscious mind. It doesn't matter what name you give it, it listens, but only to those who speak with authority, see with conviction, and seize with audacity. You will be tested, not once, not twice, continuously. Tested by delay, by rejection, by distraction, by betrayal. But you must understand resistance is not the enemy. Resistance is the proof that your vision matters. If you were walking a path of mediocrity, the universe wouldn't bother to challenge you. But when you reach for greatness, everything rises to test your worth. That's why you must fall in love with the process. You must learn to value the climb more than the summit, to find power in the push, to find joy in the fight. And through it all you must practice the rarest discipline of all, gratitude. Because gratitude is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's not contentment with average. Gratitude is armor. It is strength. It is the recognition that even in lack, you are not lacking. Even in delay, you are not denied. Gratitude keeps your vision pure. It reminds you that every struggle is sculpting you, that the furnace is not there to burn you. It's there to refine you. Gratitude says, I may not be where I want to be, but I am exactly where I need to be to become who I'm meant to be. And in that mindset, nothing is wasted. Every failure becomes fertilizer. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every storm becomes a step. You begin to realize that your journey isn't just about what you're building. It's about who you're becoming. So don't despise the waiting. Don't curse the detours. Don't envy the speed of others. Your path is custom built. Your struggle is your syllabus. And the lessons you're learning now are writing the chapters you'll teach the world one day. Speak it, see it, seize it. And when it gets hard, and it will, remember, the mountain isn't punishing you. It's proving you. Your voice matters. Your vision matters. Your life matters. But you must stop asking for permission. Speak it with fire. See it with faith. Seize it with fury. Because destiny does not belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most aligned. Alignment is the secret the world overlooks. It's not just about working harder, it's about working in harmony with your purpose. Because a man can sprint all his life in the wrong direction and still call himself busy. But alignment makes your effort divine. It makes each step sacred. It puts thunder in your stride and conviction in your breath. When your words, your thoughts, and your actions are aligned with your core truth, you become unstoppable. You're not just acting, you're becoming. You're not just performing, you're fulfilling. This is the power the world can't understand. The power that doesn't come from followers or fortune. It comes from the silent vow you make with yourself to live in alignment no matter the cost. You will lose friends. You will confuse the crowd. You will scare the insecure. But you will gain something infinitely more valuable. Peace, purpose, power. And once you're aligned, adaptability becomes your greatest weapon. Because when you're grounded in your vision, the storm cannot uproot you. You bend, but you do not break. You pivot, but you do not panic. Look at the oak tree. It does not fear the wind, because its roots go deep. That's what your belief must be. Deep, anchored, immovable. The world will throw curveballs. Plans will collapse. Timing will betray you. But adaptability says, I will not stop. I will shift. I will evolve. I will rise again. That's what survivors do. That's what winners do. They don't whine. They don't freeze. They don't play the victim. They move. They adjust. They overcome. They understand that failure is not final. Failure is feedback. And the faster you can absorb that feedback, the faster you can rise. Thomas Edison, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, Colonel Sanders. Their timelines were not straight lines. They were storms, detours, demolitions. But their minds were agile. Their spirits, unbreakable. Success isn't linear. It's jagged. It's messy. It looks like madness to the outside world. But that madness, when viewed from the end, looks like genius. So adapt, recalculate, rebuild, but never retreat. And while you adapt, you must develop resilience. Not the kind that grits its teeth and suffers in silence, but the kind that smiles through the storm and says, "This too will build me." Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It's about absorbing it, transforming it, and rising with something more than you had before. Pain is not your enemy. It's your professor. It teaches you what comfort never will. It chisels away the illusion and reveals the core. Look at every champion. You'll find scars, not shortcuts. You'll find failure, not fairy tales. You'll find people who were knocked down so many times, they started learning how to fall forward. That's resilience. That's power. The moment you stop running from discomfort is the moment you begin running toward your destiny. Because life does not give its treasures to the soft, it gives them to the scarred, the tested, the proven. And resilience is what gives birth to wisdom. When you hurt, truly hurt, and you refuse to become bitter, you become wise. When you fail and refuse to blame, you grow. When you lose and choose to learn, you evolve. Wisdom is the reward of the relentless. It's the crown for those who stayed in the fight long after the spotlight faded. And wisdom changes how you walk. You become more focused, less frantic, more rooted, less reactive. You stop chasing every shiny object and begin building what lasts. Wisdom teaches you the value of solitude, the value of silence, the value of saying no to the noise, because the farther you go on this journey, the more you'll realize this path isn't about proving the world wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's not about applause. It's about alignment. It's not about validation. It's about vision. And once you understand that, you become a different force entirely. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop explaining yourself to the blind. You stop asking for shortcuts and start laying bricks. You realize that everything you needed was already within you, that your voice was always powerful, that your vision was always worthy, that your ability to seize your future was never in question. It just needed your decision. So speak it. Speak the words that terrify you. Speak the vision you've hidden from the world. Speak it until your doubt breaks beneath the weight of your conviction. See it so vividly that it feels more real than the limits around you. See it until your surroundings surrender to your standard, and seize it. Seize this day. Seize this moment. Seize this identity. The world will not hand you the crown. You must take it, not with arrogance, but with authority, not with entitlement, but with effort, not with permission, but with purpose. Speak it, see it, seize it, not once, not someday, every day, because the world doesn't move for those who merely wish. It moves for those who roar. The roar is not loud for the sake of volume. It is loud because it comes from the deepest part of you, the place that remembers who you were before the world told you to shrink. It's the voice you silenced every time you settled, the truth you buried every time you chose fear over faith, the fire you dimmed every time you wanted to fit in rather than stand out. But now it's rising, and you feel it. The quiet knowing that you're not here to repeat history, you're here to rewrite it. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your doubt. You are potential, pressed down and waiting to explode. You are vision disguised as ordinary. You are greatness, playing small because it's easier to be accepted than to be exceptional. But understand this, nothing legendary ever came from playing it safe. Rosa didn't sit at the front of that bus because it was safe. Lincoln didn't hold the Union together because it was easy. Disney didn't build magic out of nothing because the odds were favorable. They all walked through fire. They all were laughed at, rejected, ignored, dismissed, until they weren't, until the world finally caught up to their courage. And you, yes you, are no different. The soil of greatness does not change. It only asks for roots. So plant yours deep, in conviction, in purpose, in the unshakable belief that your life is not a random occurrence, it is an assignment. You are not just here to exist. You are here to awaken, to rise, to disrupt, to build something no one else can because no one else is you. That's the secret. The power isn't outside, it's within. It always has been. The world trained you to look outward for permission, for validation, for answers, but the warrior, the builder, the visionary, They go inward. They sit with silence until the noise dissolves. They write down the vision until it screams at them in high definition. They speak the future until it feels like memory. They understand that success is not an accident. It is architecture. Every morning becomes a blueprint. Every task, a brick. Every decision, a design. They are not dabbling in dreams. They are constructing legacies. And that means the price is higher. The path is lonelier. The burden is heavier. But the reward is eternal. Because while the masses chase comfort, they are crafting contribution. While others seek escape, they seek elevation. While others look for shortcuts, they are laying stone. And that's why you must protect your mind like a fortress. Your mind is the throne. If you allow fear, doubt, envy, or apathy to sit on it, they will rule you. But if you guard it, if you flood it with vision, gratitude, learning, and fierce belief, if you feed it with books, with silence, with challenge, if you treat your thoughts like sacred fuel, not random noise, then your mind will become your greatest ally. It will filter distraction. It will silence fear. It will amplify truth. And it will unlock genius. This is not fantasy. This is not hype. This is principle. Carnegie knew it. Hill documented it. Ford embodied it. You can live it, but only if you stop renting your life and start owning it. Ownership is not about blame. It's not about shame. It's about power. Power to respond. Power to shift. Power to act. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not behind. You are one decision away from a new trajectory. One conversation. One risk. One act of courage. Everything can change. The mind is plastic. The habits are flexible. The identity is moldable. But you must decide, because nothing changes until you do. You will never rise above the standard you tolerate. So raise it. Raise your standard for your thoughts, for your circle, for your results, for your life. Stop negotiating with your old self. That version of you had its season, but this is a new chapter, and you are no longer interested in repeating the same lines. Speak new words. See new visions. Seize new territory. The chains were never physical. They were mental. And the moment you stop believing in your limits is the moment they begin to disappear. You were not born to shrink. You were born to shine. Not to be perfect, but to be powerful. Not to impress, but to impact. Not to be seen, but to see clearly who you are. There is no secret code, no hidden formula, no elite permission slip. There is only work, relentless belief, radical responsibility. Speak it, even if your voice shakes, even if the world scoffs, even if the mirror doubts you. Speak it anyway. See it, even if your eyes are swollen from failure, even if your bank account mocks your dream, even if your timeline is behind. See it anyway. Seize it, even if you don't feel ready, even if it terrifies you, even if no one claps. Seize it anyway, because you are not chasing possibility. You are fulfilling prophecy. You are not hoping for destiny. You are forging it. You were built for this, molded by your setbacks, fortified by your failures, anointed by your ambition. You carry the DNA of those who refuse to quit. You are the echo of giants, the whisper of legacy. So don't you dare fade. Don't you dare settle. Don't you dare silence your soul to appease the comfort of others. Speak louder, see clearer, seize harder, and when you feel like you've given everything, give more, because the breakthrough doesn't live in the first push, it lives in the last one. The world will not crown you for your potential, it will crown you for your persistence. The crown is not awarded in the comfort zone. It is forged in fire, earned in the hidden hours when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when you're exhausted, broken, and tempted to fold, because you understand something most never will. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It doesn't show well on highlight reels, but it builds empires. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's rising with purpose when the bed whispers comfort. It's executing the plan when the world shouts distraction. It's moving forward, not in bursts, but in beat after beat of deliberate repetition. Walt Disney didn't dream once. He dreamed every day. He didn't pitch one idea. He pitched hundreds. Edison didn't invent the light bulb in a moment of genius. It took 10,000 failures. That's discipline. That's devotion. You can't flirt with your dream and expect commitment in return. You must marry it. You must show up for it. You must bleed for it. Because your future is not built in some day. It is built in daily. And that's what separates the wanderers from the warriors. The ones who wait for motivation and the ones who move with intention. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your future. And once you live by it, you unlock something deeper. Momentum. Momentum is the compound interest of discipline. It starts slow, awkward, clunky, invisible. But keep moving. Keep showing up. Keep speaking. Keep seeing. Keep seizing. And one day the momentum becomes undeniable. You become a force. Your habits harden into identity. Your actions begin to echo in places your name hasn't even reached yet. You stop pushing the dream, and the dream begins to pull you. But none of it begins without that first choice. That first painful act of defiance against your old self. The version of you that hits snooze. The version of you that says, I'll start tomorrow. The version of you that blames, doubts, defers. Kill that version. Mourn it if you must. But bury it. And step into the one who acts, who owns, who commands, because that's what you are here to do. Command your destiny, not passively, not politely, but powerfully. You don't ask life for your dream, you demand it. With your work ethic, with your faith, with your grit, you don't hope to be noticed. You make it impossible to be ignored. You weren't born to be a spectator. You weren't born to shrink in the shadows of others. You weren't born to watch other people live your dream. You were born to build it. Brick by brick, word by word, step by step. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time for your journey. But you must stop trying to copy someone else's path. What worked for them might not work for you, because you are not a clone. You are a creator. Your soul holds blueprints the world has never seen. Your voice contains frequencies that can unlock hearts. Your mind houses inventions, books, companies, movements, songs, revolutions waiting to be born. But only if you trust it. Only if you obey the whisper. Only if you stop waiting for proof and start becoming the proof. The most powerful people you admire, they bled in private before they ever stood in public. They built in silence. They believed when no one else did. They held the vision when everything around them screamed, quit. And they didn't just wish, they worked. They didn't just see it once, they saw it daily. They didn't just say it, they lived it. Speak it like it's already yours. See it like it's already real. Seize it like there's no plan B. Because the minute you give yourself an escape route, you've already lost. Burn the boats. Burn the excuses. Burn the lie that says you're not enough. You are enough. You always were. You just forgot. Because somewhere along the line you started listening to the world instead of your own spirit. You started measuring your potential by the limitations of others. You started dimming your light to fit into rooms you were born to transform. No more. This is the rebirth. This is the reckoning. This is the moment when you stop being a memory of who you used to be and start becoming the monument of who you were destined to be. And it begins not with applause, not with fanfare, but with a quiet decision made in solitude. I will become the version of me that I've always seen. No compromise, no delay, no retreat. You weren't created to live a watered-down version of your life. You were made to overflow, with impact, with purpose, with fire. But only if you take the leap, only if you kill the old story, only if you write the new one in blood and truth and boldness. You will be judged. You will be misunderstood. You will be doubted, dismissed, downplayed. Let them, because while they watch you will rise, while they laugh you will build, while they talk you will transform. And when the dust settles, when the critics fall silent, when the storm is over, you will still be standing, not because you were lucky, not because it was easy, but because you spoke it, because you saw it, and because you seized it every single day. It's not the storm that defines you, it's how you walk through it, barefoot, bleeding, unapologetic, unshaken. Because at some point you realize the struggle isn't your enemy, it's your sculpture. It's carving you, chiseling you, cutting away what was never yours to begin with. The ego, the hesitation, it all has to fall so that the real can rise. Steel is not born soft, it's forged. Diamonds are not born gleaming, they're pressed. Legends are not born whole, they're broken and rebuilt, again and again, until nothing remains but truth. And that's what this is, a truth awakening. A resurrection of the part of you that refused to die, even when everything around you did. You didn't come this far to come this far. You didn't survive the fire to walk in fear. You endured to evolve. You fought to rise. You bled so you could build. And what you build now, it must be sacred. Built not from ego, but from essence. Not to impress, but to impact. Not to mimic, but to move. This world doesn't need more noise. It needs people who are on fire with clarity. People who live aligned, not just ambitious. People who don't just want success, they want significance. So ask yourself, who are you when no one's watching? What drives you when applause disappears? What wakes you up, not just physically, but spiritually? Because that is your compass. And once you find it, protect it with everything. Don't let opinion steer you off course. Don't let fear dilute the message. Don't let setbacks make you shrink. The obstacle is not a stop sign. It's a spotlight. It shows you where you still don't believe, where you still negotiate, where you still question if you're worthy. But here's the truth. The mountain only looks tall to the one who hasn't started climbing. Take the first step, and the summit begins to shift. Take the second, and gravity starts to bend to your will. Take the third, and you no longer climb alone, because purpose walks with those who move. This is the way of the greats. They didn't wait to be chosen. They chose themselves. They didn't wait to be ready. They started unprepared and figured it out in motion. They understood that clarity comes from doing, not just dreaming. That purpose gets louder the more you act in alignment. That your voice strengthens every time you speak truth, even when it shakes. And that's why you must never silence yourself to fit into comfort. Never abandon vision for validation. Never trade progress for popularity, because your destiny doesn't live on the path of least resistance. It lives where few are willing to go, deep into discomfort, far past failure, beyond logic, beyond realistic. There is nothing realistic about the soul's calling. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit in boxes. It doesn't wait for permission. It demands obedience. And the longer you resist it, the louder the discomfort becomes. Not because you're broken, but because you're misaligned. You were designed for more. You were built for a higher frequency. Your pain isn't punishment. It's a compass, showing you what must change. So shift, move. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Start with what you have. Build with what you know. Speak what you see. And watch the unseen become real. Because faith isn't just believing in the invisible. It's acting on it. It's taking steps when the road isn't lit. It's speaking life into visions no one else can see. That's the edge. That's where transformation lives. And when the vision feels too big, good. That means it's divine. It means it's bigger than your history, bigger than your limits, bigger than your current capacity. Because it was never about who you are. It's about who you're becoming. So let go of the small identity. Release the version of you that doubts, the one that hesitates, the one that clings to what's familiar. That version can't come with you, not where you're going, not where you're meant to be. You must upgrade the inner, to elevate the outer. Change your story, change your standards, change your state, because no one is coming to save you. No miracle, no magic bullet, no overnight success, just you with your decision, you with your dedication, you with your divine assignment. So return to the fire, not to be burned, but to be refined. Return to the dream, not to fantasize, but to build. Return to your voice, not to be heard, but to awaken. Speak with authority, see with vision, seize with force. This is your charge. This is your challenge. This is your calling. Don't just survive the days. Command them. Don't just drift through time. Shape it. Don't just echo the world. Change it. Because you are not just a name. You are a force. You are a movement. You are a message in human form. And when the world sees you walking in full alignment, not begging, not shrinking, but owning, commanding, creating, they won't know what hit them, and you won't care, because you won't be walking for applause. You'll be walking in purpose, and that is the path no one can take from you. When you lock in, truly lock in on the life that was meant for you, everything shifts. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become unshakable. Your language changes. Your posture changes. Your energy speaks before you ever open your mouth. That's what happens when clarity becomes your compass. You stop entertaining distractions that once consumed you. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing things that were never designed to hold your future. Clarity kills confusion. And when you see clearly, when your vision is locked, your belief unbreakable, you no longer ask for direction from those who've never left the shore. You become the storm. You become the proof. That's what happens when the inner world aligns. The outer world must obey. But first, you have to decide whose voice will you believe. The voice of doubt, of history, of fear, or the voice of vision, of power, of purpose. The world will always echo doubt. It will always sell you limitation, because mediocrity feels safe when you've never tasted greatness. But not you. Not now. You've seen it. You've felt it. And once your soul has glimpsed what's possible, nothing less will ever satisfy. Not comfort. Not compliance. Not compromise. You've outgrown the cage. Now it's time to tear it down. And that's what seizing really means. It means you stop waiting to be ready. You stop negotiating with hesitation. You stop romanticizing the old chapter and burn the bridge behind you, because where you're going, there's no returning. You weren't meant to repeat the cycle. You were meant to break it. You weren't meant to fit in. You were born to stand out. Your very DNA carries revolution. Your existence is not random. It is intentional. You are not here by accident. You are here because this moment, this era needs you. It needs your light, your strength, your scars, your story. You don't need more validation. You need more obedience to your calling. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You don't need a new plan. You need relentless execution. Because every seed you've ever planted, every late night, every silent tear, every sacrifice, it wasn't wasted. It was preparing the soil. Now it's time to harvest. But harvest doesn't come to the passive. It comes to the persistent, the consistent, the obsessed. Obsession is not a weakness when your obsession is aligned with purpose. It is your superpower, and you must learn to wield it, not recklessly, but righteously. Because when your heart and your hustle are united, nothing can stop you. So don't just talk about the dream. Build it in the dark. Don't just wait for the opportunity. Become the one who creates them. Don't just fantasize. Materialize. Everything you want is already encoded in your soul. But the door doesn't open just because you knock. It opens because you refuse to leave. That's what it takes. Not just inspiration, but immersion. Not just desire, but devotion. Not just noise, but movement. Movement forward. Every day. Even when it's slow. Even when it's silent. Even when no one sees it. Because destiny doesn't reward the loud. It rewards the loyal. The ones who are loyal to their vision even when it feels far away. The ones who are loyal to the process even when it's not producing. The ones who are loyal to their inner truth even when the world laughs. Be that kind of dangerous. The kind that can't be swayed. The kind that doesn't fold when things get hard. The kind that doesn't ask for easier, but becomes stronger. That's you now. The world may not know it yet, but you do. And that's enough. Because once belief is born, it cannot be buried. And if the path isn't clear, make it. If the map doesn't exist, draw it. If the doors are locked, kick them down. No one's going to hand you your legacy. No one's going to build your vision for you. No one's going to drag you to the top. This is on you. And that's the best news you'll ever hear, because it means you're free, free from permission, free from waiting, free from limits. So go, speak it with fire, see it with certainty, seize it with everything, because your life doesn't shift by accident. It shifts the moment you shift, when you say out loud and without apology, I will not live one more day beneath my potential. That's the contract. That's the line in the sand. That's the new standard. No more halfway. No more hiding. No more hoping. It's time to declare. It's time to decide. It's time to deliver. Not someday. Not later. Now. Because this is the hour when warriors rise. This is the moment when legends are made. And you are no longer in waiting. You are in becoming. There comes a point where the line between who you were and who you're becoming blurs. The old self begins to dissolve, not with noise, but with a quiet certainty. You no longer chase because you know. You no longer doubt because you decide. You no longer shrink because the truth inside you has become too big to cage. This is the moment you become your own revolution. No more compromising. No more waiting for the stars to align. You realize now you are the alignment. You are the signal. You are the spark. And once you ignite, nothing can dim what was born to burn, because the world does not remember those who hesitated. It remembers those who moved with clarity, with courage, with conviction. History doesn't honor the critic. It honors the creator, the ones who stood when it made more sense to sit, the ones who built when it would have been easier to wait, the ones who believed when there was no visible reason to, like Lincoln, who rose from nothing, crushed by failure, mocked by men, and still stood tall enough to shape a nation, like Edison, who failed over 1,000 times before the world called it genius, not because he was lucky, because he refused to quit, like Disney, laughed out of studios, broke and rejected, told he lacked imagination, until he built a kingdom from a mouse, like Ford, who dared to put engines into carriages when the world still worshipped horses. Visionaries, builders, movers of mountains. They weren't born different. They were just obsessed with vision. They spoke it, they saw it, and they seized it. They lived from the inside out, and so must you. Because when your inner world leads, your outer world must follow. When your speech aligns with your spirit, your words don't just inspire, they manifest. When your vision becomes your daily standard, not just your fantasy, you no longer need motivation, you become it. When you seize each day like it owes you nothing, and give it everything, you begin to realize the power was always yours. This is the essence of mastery. To live on purpose, not on accident. To walk in intention, not impulse. To build with discipline, not desperation. And above all, to live so loud with truth that silence becomes uncomfortable. So protect your energy, guard your gates, feed your mind with the thoughts of giants, train your body like it's your weapon, speak only what aligns with your future. No more complaining, no more rehearsing your limitations, no more storytelling about your weakness. Speak power, speak breakthrough, speak movement, because what you speak you attract, what you see you become, what you seize you own. Don't get caught in loops, the loop of maybe, the loop of someday, the loop of I'll start when. Start now. Step forward, even when it's messy. Act boldly, even when it's small, because consistency compounds. And one day, the world will call you an overnight success. But you'll know about the nights no one saw, the tears no one heard, the battles no one clapped for. And none of it will matter, because you weren't doing it for them. You were doing it for the you that refused to quit. You were doing it for the legacy that demanded to be built. This is your time, not because it's easy, but because it's earned. No more negotiating with fear. No more bowing to doubt. No more asking, can I? You can, you must, you will. Say it, like your life depends on it, because it does. Say it. I will rise. I will speak with power. I will see with purpose. I will seize with fire. Say it. My voice creates. My vision commands. My action manifests. Say it. until your bones believe it. Say it until the universe rearranges to match it. Say it until you forget who you used to be, because who you're becoming speaks too loud to remember silence. No more rehearsing the old story. You are not the wounded. You are not the waiting. You are not the almost. You are the fire starter, the blueprint breaker, the pattern disruptor, the beginning of an entirely new bloodline of belief. So build what they said couldn't be done. Speak what they were too afraid to voice. See what no one else could see, and seize what they all let slip through their fingers. Because this is not just about goals. This is not just about success. This is about destiny. This is about truth. This is about the roar inside you that refuses to be caged. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them watch. Because while they whisper, you'll be working. While they joke, you'll be building. While they sleep, you'll be seizing. And one day, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll say, I spoke it. I saw it. And I seized it.